So I haven't always had this level of confidence in certain areas of my life. And it took a lot of self reflection and a lot of hard, painful things in order for me to become confident in certain areas. And I wasn't that guy when I was at the fire department because the fire department kind of beat it out of you. Now I'm not going to blame them, but there's a traditional norm with inside the fire department. It's very paramilitary, and, I struggled with it for a long time, and so, I remember let me tell you a story. So, it was probably, like, 2015, maybe even in 2014. I started listening to podcasts, right? That's how a lot of us choose to, um help us go in the direction of self-growth, self-transformation, things we want to change, whatever, whatever. So I started listening to a podcast and uh my coworkers, I used to share an office with two other coworkers. And these coworkers were like double my age, they had, more years on the job than I did. And as the young guy, I was a threat. And I was a threat because I was able to do things that they didn't do or didn't want to do, or maybe they didn't have an option to do. But I had credentials. I had worked my ass off to get certain credentials, degrees, certifications, all of these things. And so immediately I was a threat. And I was the young guy. And it got to a point where I could, I'm sharing an office with two other guys. Guys were always sick. They're always coughing. They're always bickering back and forth. I just got to a point where I was like, guys, I got to put on my headphones. And so I put in my headphones and just listened to podcasts because I needed to fill my mind with something that I needed to work towards. I needed to, not listen to these two morons that I worked with, and it became a massive issue. It became a massive issue with these guys that, well, you just put on your headphones and do your work. It's like, am I getting the job done? Yes. And actually, my boss at the time, that's what he's like. Is he not doing his work? No, he is. It's like, yeah, I don't want to listen to you guys. And then right around the same time frame, being at the fire department, they promote a lot of health and wellness. But you look around at the majority of fire departments, a lot of these guys are overweight. It's not all of them. It's not all the guys. There's a lot of guys that take care of themselves. But back when I was there, the vast majority of guys did not. They're just one heart attack or one cheeseburger away from a heart attack. But I was allowed to work out, and this is when I was overweight. This is when I had no sense of smell, no sense of taste. I was very very sick. But I had, uh, and I started working out because I was and work out. So I started doing that. And sure as shit, these two people, these two coworkers of mine, threw a friggin' knipshit, right? So I come in the office, my door shut. I see my boss, these two guys, and my boss is kind of, very, very heated, and he waved me off. So I was like, what the hell? So I was like, okay. So he sits me down. He's like, well, they don't like that you're working out. I was like, well, am I allowed to? Yes, you are. And it's funny because I was the only guy out of those three men that had passed the fire department physical. The other two guys hadn't done a physical in about 5 years. And you want to talk about overweight? One was obese, very, very obese. He was a tall guy, but he's very, very big. I mean, it had been at least 5 years since he passed physical. So instead of them focusing on themselves and bettering themselves, they decided to attack me. And that might be more of the message today than it is about validation for your excuses. But if you can't attack the message, if you can't attack the facts, then what do people do? They attack the person. Why? They attacked my character. They attacked the things that I was doing to better myself because I was moving that direction. Is it because I held a mirror up to them and showed them what they weren't doing? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But if you can't attack the message, you attack the person. My good friend, Dr. Patrick, like, that's fantastic. They couldn't attack what I was doing. I was doing something that I was allowed to do. I had to be physically fit. Even though I was overweight, still was able to pass the physical. I've never been able not to. I wasn't in as good physical shape as I am now, but I was being attacked. My character was being attacked, even though I was doing a good job at my job and I was following the rules. But it freaking tweaked them so much that they had to, you know, take it to the supervisor that I was working out, and they knew damn well it was allowed. And so, I continued to work out. I continued to drop weight, and that's when the mirror being held up really started irking people a little bit because I was losing weight. And it's funny, like when you're overweight, people will validate or help you validate your excuses all the time. I remember one of the administrative girls. She's like, "Paul, you're too skinny." I was like, "Well, thanks, but I'm not." And she's like, "You shouldn't be losing that much weight." And I was like, "No, I should. Like, I need to be healthy. I need to be healthy for my kid." At that time, my oldest son had just been born. I had just lost my best friend to cancer. So I had the motivation. I had the motivation to listen to podcasts. I had the motivation to, start working out, start moving my life in the right direction, and start separating myself from the validation of those excuses. And so I want you guys to take inventory today. And I want you to take inventory of what areas of your life are you still validating less of yourself? What areas do you know that maybe your wife allows or helps you validate your excuse? Maybe your kids, maybe your coworkers, maybe your boss. No, it's okay. You don't have to work out. You worked hard today. Today was a tough day. Whatever, whatever. Yesterday was a tough day. I still did my workout. I still did my walk. I still stayed on my meal plan. I still followed my supplements. I still did my daily vlog. You guys get my point. Like just because I had a shitty day yesterday or whatever, doesn't mean that all of the things that are going to move me forward, I should just throw to the wayside. In fact, I should actually dive into those deeper. And that's how you continue to move forward. That's how you continue to grow. Like when you're getting your teeth kicked in, that's when you need to dig deep because you're not going to want to do it. But when you do it, that's how you win. That's how you keep that momentum going. It's funny, I keep posting these on YouTube and the people that put in the negative comments are exactly what I'm talking about. These people that oh, your stuff sucks and whatever. Do you think I give a shit what you think? I don't. It doesn't bother me one bit. I'm not going to let your opinion of me bother me because I know me. And I know the work I've done to get here. I know the work that I've done to do a daily vlog for I could talk for an hour if I wanted to, and then post it online and not give a shit. My hope is this helps somebody. But you guys are gonna attack me because you're not doing it. Like it's so funny that anybody that's commented negatively about anything I've done online, if I go look at their profile, which I really don't anymore, like they don't have a profile picture, or they got a picture of their cat, or they have 100 followers or whatever. And I'm not saying it's about followers, guys, but what I'm saying is, why aren't you guys doing this? You want to attack me because I'm on here putting out this value. You jump on my page and then, right? It's like, you don't even have a profile picture up, dude. But you're going to come on here and tell me my content sucks? Cool. I'm not your guy. Move on, you know? So when you can't attack the message, you attack the messenger. And guess what? I'm pretty confident in myself. I'm pretty confident in my abilities. I can get better. I can do better content no matter what anybody says. But I'm going to speak real and raw and truthful with you guys. So take inventory today. Where do you validate your excuses? All right, guys, till next time. See ya.